Alrighty, in this video we're going to go ahead and talk about area and perimeter. But the shapes that we're going to talk about specifically with area and perimeter are squares and rectangles. So let's learn a little bit about squares, rectangles, and some triangles before we get into what area and perimeter are. So first, let's talk about some squares and rectangles. So what we know about a square is that it has four sides. Not just four sides though, they're four equal sides. And these little tick marks right here, these tick marks represent that each side is equal. So if this side were to say 5 inches, then what we know about a square is that it has four equal sides, is that all of these sides would be 5 inches. That's what these little tick marks right here represent, is it saying every side that has the same number of tick marks is going to be the same size. Okay. And the other thing we know about squares is that they have those four right angles. Now, if we're talking about a rectangle, rectangles are very similar to squares, but they do not have four equal sides. They have two sets of sides that are equal. Okay, this side is equal to this side, which is why they have the same number of tick marks. They both have 2. And then this side, the bottom, is equal to the top. That's why they both have 1 tick mark. Okay, so the top and the bottom are equal, and the left and the right are equal. What this is also called is parallel. These sides are parallel because parallel means that they never touch. Okay. And then this bottom is parallel to the top because those two will never touch, okay? So what we know about a rectangle is that the left and the right are equal, and that the top and the bottom are equal. This will be true for all rectangles, okay? Now let's talk about triangles. So triangles are a little bit different, but what we know about triangles is that they have 3 sides. Every triangle will always have 3 sides, but there are 3 different types of triangles that we will be working with pretty consistently. And the first one is called equilateral, then you have isosceles, and scalene. So let's talk about what each of these are individually. So an equilateral triangle is where all the sides of the triangle are equal. That's why they have the same number of tick marks. And notice that the word equilateral kind of has the word equal in it. That's because all the sides of an equilateral triangle are equal. So if this side were 3 centimeters, that means all of the sides are 3 centimeters. Okay? Now, if we're talking about the next one, isosceles, isosceles is close, but a little bit different. So an isosceles triangle is where 2 sides of the triangle are equal, but you have one side that's different, okay? So in this case, it would be like saying the base is 3 centimeters, but the side is 5 centimeters. And so how big is this side? This side is also 5, because they both have the same amount of tick marks. They got that 1 tick mark, so it means that it's 5 just like the other one. Okay, so an isosceles triangle has 2 sides that are the same. Okay, and then last but not least, we got scalene. Okay, a scalene triangle is where none of the sides are equal. In other words, they're all different. Okay. All the sides are different. So you're going to have a different number for each side. That's why they each have a different amount of tick marks, okay? So, to review, an equilateral triangle, they're all the same, okay? An isosceles triangle, 2 sides are the same. And a scalene triangle, they're all different. Okay, so with that in mind, those 3 different types of triangles, now we're going to talk about what the height of a triangle is versus what the base of a triangle is. And this is very important information when trying to calculate the area and perimeter of a triangle. Okay, so when we're talking about triangles, we need to figure out how to determine what's the height and what's the base and what is the side, okay? The red line in the middle that is dashed is the height. No matter where it is, whether it's upside down or right side up or pointing downwards, okay? Wherever that red line is or the dotted line, that's going to be your height. And your key to know is this right angle right there. So when you see that right angle, that's telling you it's where the height is. Notice this triangle down here. This one does not have a dotted line, but it does have that right angle. And the height is always found by the right angle. So that means this one is my height. Okay, this is a special type of triangle called a right triangle. But most of the triangles you're going to be dealing with will have that dotted line, just like these ones do. But the way you can always find the height is look for the right angle, okay? And that will also help you find the base. Okay, so we need to look for the box, okay? Look for that right angle, okay? So if we're looking at this triangle right here, I have my right angle right here. And so that means this line right here is going to be my height. And this bottom that the right angle is touching is the base. So people, when they say base, automatically think bottom, but that is not true. Like in this case where the triangle is turned. This part right here, this side, is going to be the base because that's where the triangle has the right angle, okay? Now, if the right angle were switched and we had our dotted line going like this with my right angle here, now my base is this bottom one, okay? So you're just looking for wherever that right angle is, okay? Find the right angle and then that will give you the height and the base. Everything else is considered just a side, okay? All of these other things in the triangle, those are just sides, okay? But we need to look for the base and the height. Those are what we need the most, okay? So if we're looking at this guy over here, he's kind of sideways, upside down. Your height is going to be that dotted line, and then your base is going to be the bottom where the right angle touches. It's going to be the side where the right angle touches. Okay? This one right here, this one is completely upside down. Your base is going to be that top side because that's where your right angle is touching. And then you have your height, which is that dotted line over there. Okay? And then for our right triangle, we have that right angle. It's touching this bottom side, so that's going to be my base. And we have it going straight up and down. That is going to be your height. This over here is just a normal side. This is actually, because it's a right triangle, it's called something special. This side in particular is called a hypotenuse, but that is something we will talk about later. Okay? Just know that wherever the right angle is, it's going to give us a height, and it's going to give us a base. Okay? So with that in mind, let's now talk about some area and perimeter. So first off, let's talk about perimeter. Perimeter is the measure of all of the sides added together, okay? So if you have a shape, you're just going to add all of the sides together. With a square, we know that all of the sides are the same, that they are all equal. So if I was trying to find the perimeter of this square right here, I'm going to go ahead and do 5, add 5, add 5, add 5. Now these other 5s were not there originally, but I know that all of the sides are 5 because I know that a square, all of the sides are equal, okay? And a perimeter is adding all of the sides together. So we do P equals 5, add 5, add 5, add 5, which gives us 20, okay? And if there's units, like centimeters, then go ahead and give it those units as well. So it'd be 20 centimeters, okay? The awesome thing about perimeter is it doesn't matter what shape it is. Perimeter is the same for any shape, whether it's a rectangle, a square, a pentagon, a diamond, a rhombus, an octagon. All you do to find the perimeter is add all of the sides together, okay? It's the outside of the shape. That's what this red is pointing to. It's all of the outside of the shape is our perimeter. Area is the measure of the inside, okay? And in order to find area, we have different equations depending on the shape, okay? So here are your equations. If you're dealing with a square or a rectangle, your equation is length times width. The length is going to be that bottom one on your rectangle. It's going to be the longest side. And your width is going to be the one that goes up and down, kind of like the height in a triangle, okay? So your length is that long one, and your width is the tall one. Now with a square, your length and the width are going to be the same number because they are the same size, because a square has 5 equal sides. Okay? So when you're dealing with a rectangle, it's length times width. But when you're dealing with a triangle, you need to do base times height, but then you're going to divide that answer by 2. Okay? Because this line right here means divide. And we'll go over that more once we get to our fraction unit. But just know that if you're trying to find the area of a triangle, you need to find the height and you need to find the base, multiply them together, and then divide that answer by 2. With rectangles, you don't need to divide by 2, but with triangles, you do. Okay, so let's practice some examples. Let's start with this square right here. I want to find the area and I want to find the perimeter, okay? Because we're dealing with a square, in order to find the area, we need to use our equation. Area equals length times width. So we need to identify what is my length, what is my width. Because it's a square, I know that all sides are the same. So 6 centimeters right here is going to be my length. And it is also going to be my width. So in order to find the area, we are going to take 6 times 6, which gives me 36. Then when you're writing area, go ahead and put those units, but then you're going to put this little square right there with it, that little exponent 2. And the reason why is just because that's how we write area. So whenever you're writing area, write the units and then put that little 2 after it, okay? Now in order to find the perimeter, how do we find perimeter? We add all the sides together, okay? So because I'm dealing with a square, I know all the sides are the same. So I'm not just going to do 6 add 6, I need to add all the sides together. And how many sides does a square have? It has 4. So I not only need to do 6 add 6, I need to also add the top 6 and the left 6. Okay, so that would give me 6 add 6 add 6 add 6, which gives us 24. Okay, and then we got our units. The perimeter does not have the little 2, it's just the units written normally. Okay, so for my square right here, my area is 36 centimeters squared and my perimeter is 24 centimeters. Okay, let's go ahead and practice. Now make sure to go ahead and write this one in your notes. Okay, pause the video, write it in your notes. Let's go ahead and do our next one. Let's go ahead and do our rectangle over here. Okay. So here's our rectangle. We have a length of 12 centimeters and we have a width of 4 centimeters. Remember that area is length times width. So if I'm finding the area of this rectangle, I'm going to do 12 times 4, and 12 times 4 equals 48. And then we're going to go ahead and write our units with that little 2, and bam, there is our area. Now we're going to find the perimeter. Perimeter is adding all sides together. And how many sides does a rectangle have? 4. So we don't just need to add 12 plus 4. We need to make sure we add the top and the right side as well. The top is 12 because the bottom is 12. And the left side is going to be 4 because the right side is 4. Now add all of them together. So we have 12 plus 12 plus 4 plus 4. Okay, 12 plus 12, that gives me 24. Plus 4, that gives me 28. And then we still got one more plus 4, which will give us 32. Okay, so my perimeter equals 32 centimeters. Okay, so an area is 48 centimeters squared. Perimeter is 32 centimeters. Last but not least, let's try our triangle over here. Now this is an isosceles triangle. Now if you remember back from the beginning, isosceles means that two sides of the triangle are the same, right here, okay? And the way I know that it's isosceles is because of these tick marks right here. I have two sides that are the same, okay? And then this bottom one has 2 tick marks. That means it's not the same. So that means that this side over here is also going to be 10, okay? For perimeter, we want to add all of the sides together. Keep in mind, the height is not a side. We're just going to add the outside ones, okay? So for P, I'm going to do 10 plus 10, which is those sides right there. Then I have my base, which is 5. Okay, 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 5 is 25. So P equals 25 centimeters. Now if we're doing our area, if we remember our equation for area, right here, for a triangle, it's base times height divided by 2. So here's my area. My base was 5. Base is 5. Height is 8. So for this one, I'm not going to use the 10 at all. Okay, because those are the side lengths. I just need my base and my height. Okay, base is 5, height is 10. So we have base, which is 5, times the height, which is 8, and then we're going to divide that by 2. Okay, 5 times 8 is 40. And then we divide that by 2, and that gives us 20. So my area is going to be 20 centimeters squared. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and try the practice problems by yourself.